Thank you, friends. Regret. How many have? How many of you have regrets, or nobody has any regrets? Any volunteers? Yeah. So basically, majority of the time, people says no regrets. Why are you forget about it? Other things. But Daniel Pink says regret. One cannot live without regrets. That's what he says. However, use the regrets for our benefit. He says how looking backward moves us forward. So he wants us to use the regrets and move forward instead of trying to forget about it and saying no regrets. So he did a research on his own. He did almost 16,000 participants spanning in 195 countries. And in that one, he collected all the regrets from people and then he divided into different parts and then analyzed them. uh, he says he starts off with no regrets tattoos. People, you might have seen at least somebody wearing the having the no regrets tattoo on their body. So he goes and he does the research and he goes couple of hundreds of years back. One lady singing a song about no regrets and how it became not hundreds but that 30 40 years back, how she became popular and it's in Spanish song, no regrets. And then he says everybody has regrets, and then that's why whoever have tattoo on their body, they go back to remove it. And he says that the industry itself is 100 million plus industry to remove the tattoos, not to put the tattoos. So regrets are there. And I like Daniel Pink because his books are all wonderful books. If you pick up any of them, multiple books he wrote, and he does a lot of research. These people are like they start up their own research and starts writing about different topics. He says selling is human. That's another book because every day we sell. I'm selling the book to you guys. So that's how the book starts off with tattoos, and then he mentions about how he wants to present his book into three parts. First one is how regret matters, where he tells regret is important to in our life. And then he goes off with regrets revealed, how many regrets are there, and he classifies them into four kind of regrets globally. And then the third section, he says regrets are remade, how we to use those regrets to move forward. So there's a couple of quotations which I like. He says there is a crack in everything. That's how light gets in, isn't it? Without a crack of dawn, that's what we call. Without a crack, light won't come in. Like that, he says about it. Graph on page 23. Yeah, I don't know. Nobody volunteered whether they have regrets or not. But when he did the query, number of percentage of respondents never is less than 2% who says I never had regrets. But rarely is around 15%, but occasionally is 40%, frequently is 20, all the time is 15 to 20%. That's the percentage he got. So that's how he goes. And let me start my presentation. This is the book we are talking about, the power of regret, how looking backward moves us forward. Regret is not a sign of weakness. A lot of times people think regret is a weakness, but he says it's a tool for improvement. How, we will see that today. The no regrets is a myth. He starts off with saying that no regrets is a myth. It like that, as I mentioned, tattoos, songs, mottos, a lot of people have that. In reality, regret is universal and healthy. Only people with brain damage or sociopaths does not feel it. That's what he says. How does regrets benefit us? It sharpens our decision making, boosts our performance, deepens our sense of meaning. So most of the regrets he classified into regret of omission or regression of commission. As I mentioned, 105 countries, 16,000 people. He does research and he classified them as omission, which is we regret mistakes in the short term. Commission is we regret missed opportunities, inactions, much more than in the long term. To tell you my own story, I will tell I used to call my dad every week and I used to talk with him at least an hour. This is before 2004. He started asking me to come to India. I went there like 2001 or 2002. So he started within a year. He started come to India. I want to see you. But I said no, no, no. I have two daughters. I have to enjoy here. I have summer. I need to take them for Disney. I don't have vacation. I don't have money to come to India. Remember, those are the previous days, not the days of now, which is different. We are all most of us are surplus. So I didn't go. First year is gone. Then I took my daughters to Disney and came back in 2003 summer. And week I had some party and I didn't call him. Uh, I thought, okay, next Saturday I can call him. It's not a big deal. Every Saturday I'm calling, I will call next Saturday. That's what I thought. However, he passed away on Thursday. When I called my brothers, they said he waited for your call on Saturday so long, thinking that you are going to call. So that feels so bad if you think about it. That's the I regret I had, but nowadays I don't have it. However, that is the biggest one. Why didn't I call? I might have called Sunday instead of thinking that next. So with that, how I move forward is I tell people if you have something to do, complete it. If you need to go to India, go. Don't postpone it. That's what I tell them. Um, However, there is another philosophy where they call a fate or whatever we call it. Sometimes it doesn't work. With my mom, it worked. I went to India. I spent 15 days with her, and then while coming back, I told her that, hey, don't worry, I'll come back. But she passed away like 15 days later. However, I had opportunity to spend with her for 15 days. So that's a different story. So that is omission and commission. The four core regrets are foundation regrets. As I mentioned, if I had done the work, if I called him 4 days before, I might have talked with him like that. So majority of them are about health, education, finances, nature of failures, failure to be responsible, small choices that accumulate into big problems in later in life. That is foundation of regrets. Boldness of regrets. So some of them are boldness. If I had taken the risk, if I had taken the risk of staying back in US in 95 instead of going back to India, I might be much better off. These are the risks, whether we take it or not. That is the things like a career, romance, travel. We would always think that we are taking safe path. So I'm oscillating between worldly thing as well as Advaitic philosophy, where everything is done for you. So in general, world thinks that if I had taken that path, I might be better off. If I taken this right turn, the accident may not have happened. All these things, boldness of regrets will be there, and moral regrets are if only I had done the right thing. See, this is another thing we think of. Bullying, cheating, infidelity, dishonesty, all these things. And the nature is these are the smallest in quantity. Not many people will have it, but they carry a lot of pain with them. They represent a compromise of our core character, because our core character is given by our parents, upbringing, and teachers, and everything. That character will be there whether you want it or not. That will be protecting you all the time. Sometimes if you deviate, that's burns you a long time. Connection regrets. See, the connection is my dad's. I don't know where to put my mind. If only I had reached out. Friends, partners, family. We have so many people. We think that they may think badly. I didn't call them because I lost the connection. He didn't respond back. She didn't call me back. All these things come up. And he says this is the most common regret. It usually involves drifting rather than single fight. Small fight, we move away. We don't reach out because we think it will be awkward, but the other person will usually welcomes it. See, a lot of times who gives in? Even in family also, wife and husband, we fight, but somebody makes a step forward and goes in. Otherwise, we have seen our friends, a lot of friends who are separated because of silly things. I heard one time, this was way back. Uh, I don't know the truth. However, they said the girl doesn't want to touch the in-laws' feet to take their blessings. That's why they got separated. I said, what? So, oh, one more thing. Some of you are Toastmasters. In 92, I'm giving my age. In 92, I was in Detroit and I went to the party, American party. And I went to the restroom and came back. And the lady, hostess, came to me and said, running, she's an American. Nagaraj, I said, what? You didn't close the lid. I said, oops. And she says, there are people who took divorce because of that. I said, not in Indian families. Now, whenever I go to the restroom, I can perfectly guess who went to the restroom. So, sorry. Maybe in your houses also you might see that. How to process regret. So there are, he gives you step by step how to process it. One is of having a self-compassion, look inward, don't ignore the pain, but don't wallow in it, and talk to yourself as if you are talking to a friend. We can give advices to other people, but we don't take it to ourselves. So he says, think that you are your friend and give advice to have self-compassion by looking inward. And self-disclosure is write it down, whatever it is, put it on a paper. A lot of people say that's why journaling is a very good habit where we pour out our heart into it. If you think that it is not for public, nobody wants to see it, write it on the paper and tear it down or burn it. That is another thing. A lot of, like Louis Hay also says the same thing. Write it down on the paper and burn it. That's okay. Small fire, not a whole house. So like that, self disclosure by putting it on the paper. By self distancing, he said this is a good method. He says analyze the regret as a scientist would, extract the data and the lesson. He always says that think of 10-10-10 rule, three tens, 10-10-10. He says, how will you feel about this choice in 10 minutes or 10 months or 10 years? How do you feel that? That's what he asks us to analyze it. Turning regret into action. How we transfer these into action. That's what he talks about in the book. Let me see something. How do we take the four regrets into action? That's what he says. For boldness, start today. Take a risk you have been avoiding. If you are avoiding something, take the action and move forward. Connection, send a simple text. Hey, I am missing you, or I want to connect with you. Just send a mail or message right now. WhatsApp or everything is there. Send a message. That awkwardness is an illusion. That's what he mentions. The foundation is rarely too late to start it the habit today. Oh, I talk with my in-law, my sister-in-law, and other people. All they says, "Oh, I wasted my time. I'm at 60 now. What can I do?" I says, "Start now. Whatever you want to, start now. It's not never late. Whatever is gone, gone. We cannot get it back. However, if you are thinking of starting a new habit or a writing journal or painting, start today. What's wrong? Forget about what is missing. So start the action today. That's what he says. He puts this one wonderfully. He says, regret is the stomachache of the soul. It tells you why we need to do something differently. Let me go back to foundation regrets. So foundation regrets, these are arise from a failure to be responsible, diligent, and prudent. They start small but compound over time. That's how it happens. A small regret will be behind your mind and it becomes bigger. How, you may ask? For health side, I wish I had taken care of my body in my 20s or 30s instead of smoking and eating poorly. Now I am facing chronic issues. A lot of people right now, people think that because of their past actions. If it is finances, I wish I had started a retirement fund when I got my first job. Again, it's a time frame. We always think we should have taken action sometime back. For the boldness, he says these occur when we face a fork in the road. That is for the boldness. One path is safe, other path is risky, but offers growth. However, we choose safe option. That's what I mentioned. We always wants to safe option. Very rarely we take the risky option. We have seen a couple of friends who took the risky option, jumps out into something, and they start doing something differently, which majority of the people may not have taken it. For me, I am with Boeing for almost 25 years, 25 plus years. So I didn't jump the ship. Career, I regret staying in a stable but soul crushing corporate job. I'm not thinking it's soul crushing corporate jobs. I'm good. For 15 years, instead of starting that small boutique agency I dreamed about, like if you had a desire to start a company or something like that. Romance, I regret never telling my best friend in college that this is major. I hear from my friends, like I regret never telling my best friend in college that I was in love with them. Now they are married and I will never know what if I told them. Travel experience, I regret turning down a chance to live abroad for a year because I was afraid of being away from my comfort zone. Comfort zone is another big one. So the moral regrets, he says, these represent a compromise of your personal values. As I mentioned, we have the core of what is given by upbringing. They are rarest of the four, but often most nagging and painful. Bullying. I deeply regret a time in middle school when I joined on a teasing a classmate just to fit in with the popular group. Yes, I also feel that in my BTech time, there was ragging and I was a day scholar. So I was a little bit escaped. Only a couple of times they caught hold of me. However, when major question they ask is, hey, Tangtur Prakasham Pantul, he is relative to you. That's why, is he relative to you? I used to say no. But I had my junior, Subbarao, and I asked the same question to him, and he said he is related to Tangtur Prakasham Pantul. So infidelity and work ethics. I regret taking credit for a colleague's idea during a major meeting to get promotion. Some people climb other people's work and get the promotion. For the connection regrets, he says these involve the slow fade of relationships. They usually don't happen because of big fight, but because of neglect or fear of awkwardness. Friendship, I regret letting my relationship with my childhood best friend drift away. I want to call them, but I feel like it's been too many years and it would be weird now. That's what people think. And family, I regret not spending more time with my parents like me and asking them about their lives before their health declined. Mentorship, I regret not thinking the teacher who changed my life. I heard they passed away recently and I missed my chance. A lot of times he even puts all these people's quotations like, I wish I had jumped in with my partner's bed when he is sick and stayed with him instead of I stayed away and I don't have that chance. One lady says that. So if we know what we regret most, we know what we value most. Regret is the ultimate teacher. So here he says how to handle these guys is, he says Pink suggests a simple mental shift to handle these examples. At least start saying, at least find the silver lining to stabilize your emotions. At least I learned what kind of person I don't want to be. At least now I know I will call my relatives or friends whenever I think of calling instead of postponing it. At least. So that is one way of consoling or moving forward. Other way is if only. Use the regret as the map for the future. If only I reach out now, I can prevent this regret from growing for another 10 years. So if only. That's what. At least or if only. And turning regrets into action. Here he says for better boldness regrets, you have to think about talking point. We often fear the risk of failure, but we should actually fear the risk of inaction. Instead of taking action, with inaction will bother you a lot. So take action. Commit to one micro boldness act this week. He recommends that one. And when you are facing a boldness regret, ask yourself, if I don't do this, how will I feel in the 5 years, 10 years, like that. For this, Bezos says regret minimalization framework. If the answer is I will still be wondering what if, then the cost of staying still is higher than the cost of failing. So don't be afraid of fear of failing. Move forward. Now, all this theory is useless if it stays in your head. Moving from if only or at least is finally the next time. If you are sitting on a boldness regret, stop waiting for the right time. It doesn't exist. If it is connection regret, realize that your fear of awkwardness is just a feeling wall you built yourself. That it is you are building that wall for yourself. If you regret is not traveling, you value adventure. If you regret for lost a friend, you value loyalty. Use those values to drive your actions for tomorrow. So that is the presentation part of it. And a couple of things I like is there is a quotation where he says, when you find yourself in a hole, stop digging. I never heard that one. He says, first law of holes. Maybe holes is a law of thermodynamics. I know law of Newton's laws of motion. I know it, but this one I never know. First law of holes, HOLES, holes is when you find yourself in a hole, stop digging. That means don't go deeper. So basically, when you are in a thinking about something bad happened or regret coming, don't go dwell into that too much. And three options responding to regret is feeling for ignoring, that is one, and feeling for feeling. Another one is feeling is for thinking. First two are no use. Feeling for ignoring, don't try to ignore that regret. And feeling for feeling is where you start digging a hole. And feeling for thinking, think about it, why it happened, what can I do with it, and that is will help you to do the something, and that will give you better decisions, make allow you to make a better decisions, improve performance and deeper meaning. It's kind of raw subject, however I try to cover it up. That's what I have. Thank you.